Hello and welcome to the class. My name's Paddy. Today we're going to be talking about problem and solution essays for writing task 2. If you have any questions after you watch this class, you can click on the chat icon at the top of your page just here. Clicking on that icon will allow you to send us a message with any questions that you have. This is the first class of 2 classes, and this video will last just over 20 minutes. First, we're going to talk about how to analyze the question and then how to plan your answer. And then we will look at how to write an introduction for this type of essay. During this video, there will be some questions for you to answer. You can find these just below the video. I will tell you when you need to answer them, and I'll give you about 10 to 15 seconds to do so. Okay, let's get started. Before we start writing, we need to spend at least 5 minutes planning our essay. This planning time is essential and you should not miss it. So what do we do during that planning time? First, you need to analyze the question. Read it very carefully to make sure you understand exactly what the question is asking you. Then you need to brainstorm some ideas in response to the question. Think of arguments, examples, situations. What would you say in response to this question? Make a list of possible ideas. Make a list of more ideas than you need. Then you need to decide on the structure of your essay. So that's what you're going to put in each of the paragraphs. Remember, a task 2 essay will probably have 4 paragraphs: an introduction, 2 body paragraphs, and a conclusion. Here is an example question. To make sure we understand the question correctly, we should underline some keywords. What do we mean when we say keywords? Well, keywords are very often nouns and noun phrases. So these are the people, the things, the concepts involved in a sentence. The verbs or verb phrases. So if the verb carries an important action, then it's an important keyword. If it's a verb like be, then it's probably not a keyword. Adjectives. If the adjectives describe the noun in an important way, or they define the noun, then of course they are keywords. And adverbs and adverb phrases. So it describes how an action is done, and if that's important, then we'd underline that as a keyword. So let's have a look here. We have these days. Well, that's just giving us a general background time expression, so that's not really a keyword. Number of vehicles. On the road, well, that's just adding information about the vehicles. When we think of vehicles, we think of cars and trucks. This number is growing steadily, so that's the verb and the adverb describing what's happening to that number. More and more, we can just underline more people choose to own cars. Okay, so we're talking about the number of cars on the road, and this number is going up. Okay, so we're talking about the number of cars going up because more people have cars. What do we need to do in this essay? What problems arise from this? And what solutions can you suggest? So this first phrase, problems arise, is important because it means we need to talk about the effects. Arise from means are caused by. So what problems arise from this? And we also need to talk about solutions. How are we going to solve this problem? Here is a new question. Let's read it. Over the last century, an increasing number of animals have become endangered or extinct. What do you think the causes are? What solutions can you suggest? I would like you to think about what the keywords are. Remember, those keywords are nouns and noun phrases, verbs and verb phrases, adjectives or adverbs if they're important for the meaning of the sentence. Look at the first question below this video. You must choose the keywords in this question. There are 7 correct options. Choose the correct options now. So in this question, the keywords are Over the last century. This is a time adverbial, and it's important because it means we're only focusing on the last 100 years. So we're not talking about all of human history, we're just talking about the last century. An increasing number. Okay, so something is going up. Animals. Endangered, extinct. So we're talking about animals which are at risk or are completely dead, so their species is gone. Okay, what do we need to do? What do you think the causes are, and what solutions can you suggest? Okay, so this question about animals is different to the question about cars because it asks us not for the effects of the problem, but for the causes of the problem. And as always, we need to talk about the solutions in our essay. So now that we've understood the question, it's time to brainstorm ideas to put into our body paragraphs. It's absolutely essential that you use this brainstorming time because if you try to think of ideas while you're writing, you will not have a good structure and you will probably waste a lot of time. So let's read this question again. It's the question about cars. These days, the number of vehicles on the road is growing steadily as more and more people choose to own cars. What problems arise from this and what solutions can you suggest? So we have to do two things. We have to think of the effects or consequences of people having more cars, and we need to propose a solution to each of those problems. So for every effect we think of, we should think of a solution that matches it. First, let's brainstorm some effects. Of course, the first thing I think of is the environmental argument. More cars on the road means more air pollution, more emissions. This is a great topic because I can link it to lots of environmental language like global warming, climate change, greenhouse gases, things like that. For my next point, I'm going to talk about a different topic, health and fitness. If people have more cars, then they're going to be walking less. So the topics here are going to show my range of vocabulary. As well, cities are noisy and more dangerous. So I could talk about the risk to children, the risk to cyclists, and the effect of noise pollution in cities, or the effect on wildlife. So animals can be affected by the noise from cities. So I've got 3 points here. I think it would be best if I chose 2. So I think 1 and 2 are going to give me the opportunity to write and show off my language and vocabulary the most. Now I'm going to think of some solutions. Remember, I'm going to try and link my solutions to my effects. Raise taxes on petrol. So this might be one way of tackling air pollution, climate change, emissions. If we raise taxes on petrol, it will encourage more people to use public transport. And also it might encourage more people to use electric cars rather than petrol cars. I can develop these arguments more in my body paragraphs, but while I'm brainstorming, I should also be thinking of justifications for these arguments. Fund public transport. So if the government puts more money into public transport, then prices will be lower, the infrastructure will be better, people will be more encouraged to use it. I could link this idea of funding public transport to point number 3. Fewer people are killed by trains than cars. So if we have more people using public transport, the roads and the streets are safer. 3. Build better paths for cycling. This could link to my second point about if people have cars, they don't walk as much, so they're not as healthy. If we have good cycle paths, then people are encouraged to use bicycles instead of their car, which promotes greater fitness amongst the population. So if I had to choose 2 effects to write about and 2 solutions, I think I would choose effect 1 and effect 2, and then I would link 1 to solution number 1, and I would link 2 to solution number 3. There we go. I've got an idea of what I'm going to do with my essay now. Now I'd like you to think about how we could brainstorm ideas for this question. Let's just remind ourselves of the question. Over the last century, an increasing number of animals have become endangered or extinct. What do you think the causes are, and what solutions can you suggest? So this is the animal question, asking about why animals become endangered or extinct and what can we do about it. So this is different to the previous question because we're not talking about effects, we're talking about causes. This makes it a little bit easier to link causes to solutions. The solutions should directly address those causes. I'm going to show you 5 possible points we could make for causes. 3 of them are good. 2 of them are not so good for this essay. 1. It's caused by more people becoming vegetarian. 2. It's caused by the destruction of habitats. 3. It's caused by the greater number of zoos opening. 4. It's caused by pollution of seas and oceans. And 5. It's caused by overfishing. Look at the next question below this video and choose the 3 options that are good points for causes. So the causes I would write about here are number 2, destruction of habitats. So all of us can imagine how us destroying the place where animals live can reduce the number of that species. We can see this in rainforests. 4, pollution of seas and oceans. I'm sure all of us have seen images or videos of plastic floating in the oceans and how this is killing the animals and the wildlife in the sea. So this is a good point. And 5, overfishing. This is when we fish too much from the sea. Point number 1, more people becoming vegetarian. I don't think that would cause animals to go endangered or extinct. In fact, it seems like it would be more likely to be the opposite. And number 3, I would say the same. Opening more zoos seems likely to increase conservation, not reduce the number of species. So our 3 possible points for this essay are the destruction of habitats causing animals to become endangered, pollution of the seas and the oceans, and overfishing. All 3 of these are causes. So when we brainstorm ideas for our solutions, we need to think about how we can link a solution to that cause. Here are 5 solutions. We could write about them in our essay, but only 3 of them link to the causes. 1. Make laws to prohibit cutting down trees in rainforests. 2. Introduce strong prison sentences for people who hunt illegally. 3. Try to encourage people to use less plastic or to recycle their plastic. 4. Create limits on the amount that fishing boats or fishing ships can fish. 5. Increase the salary of veterinarians or vets. Which of those is a solution that links to our causes? That's causes 2, 4, and 5. Look at the next question below this video and choose the 3 solutions that link to our causes. So number 1, make laws to prohibit cutting down rainforests. This clearly links to destruction of habitats. One of the biggest causes of destruction of habitats is deforestation, cutting down rainforest trees. So if we introduce laws that prohibit this, this will have an effect on that cause. It will stop that cause. 2, strong prison sentences for illegal hunters. This is a great solution, but it's not related to any of our causes. This cause would be illegal hunting, and we don't mention that in our causes. So number 2 is a good point, but it doesn't link to our causes. 3, encourage people to use less plastic and recycle. This links to the pollution of our seas and oceans. How do we reduce this? Well, one way of making a small difference is to encourage people in general to use less plastic, so less of it, ends up in the oceans. Number 4, create limits on the amount that ships can fish. So this clearly deals with the issue of overfishing. If we have restrictions or quotas on how much countries or companies can fish from the oceans, then it will deal with this cause. Number 5, increase the salary of veterinarians. Well, this isn't really a solution to animals becoming endangered or extinct. So now that we have the content of our body paragraphs, we can start thinking about what to write in our introduction. What is the introduction? Well, an introduction is the first paragraph of your essay, and it introduces the topic. It will also give an outline of what the essay is going to talk about. So how do we do this? Well, you need to include first a general introductory sentence to the topic. This is a sentence that gives some background to the debate or background to the issue. This can include, or as a different sentence, you can have a paraphrasing of the question. So in a problem and solution essay, you should paraphrase the nature of the problem. You do not need to paraphrase the part where it asks you for causes or effects and a solution, but you should paraphrase the first part. An explanation sentence will then show what this means. Perhaps you will include some of the points you're going to make in your body paragraph. You can then finish your introduction with an opinion sentence. It's always good to put an opinion sentence as the end of your conclusion, but you can do it in your introduction as well. Something that shows your reaction to this issue. Remember, you need to use academic language, but you can still give your opinion. So let's think about that introduction sentence where we need to paraphrase the question. When we paraphrase the question, we take the language from the question and we change it into our own words. The structure will be pretty similar, but the vocabulary must be different. If we copy the question, we will lose marks. So let's just read the question again and highlight some of those keywords. So that's over the last century, increasing number, animals, endangered, extinct. So we should try to think of synonyms of these keywords, words which have the same meaning or approximately the same meaning. Over the last century. Look at the next question below this video. You have 3 options, A, B, or C. Which of those is the best synonym for over the last century? Is it A, throughout the last 100 years, B, 100 years ago, or C, since 1921? Choose the correct option. A, throughout the last 100 years is a good synonym for over the last century. B, 100 years ago, is a finished past time, so that's not correct. And C, since 1921, is a little bit too specific with the year there. An increasing number of. Which of these is a good synonym for an increasing number of? Is it A, many, B, too many, C, more and more? Look at the next question below this video and choose the correct option. C, more and more. This gives the idea of a number which is increasing steadily. Animals. Think about the context of the question and think about the language you would use in an essay. Which of these would be an appropriate synonym or paraphrasing of animals? Look at the next question below this video. The options are A, species, B, natural features, or C, tigers. Choose the correct option. In this case, A, species, would be a good synonym. Now, of course, species can include plants, but in this context, it's an appropriate synonym. Endangered. Which of these is a good synonym for endangered? A, dangerous, B, at risk, or C, extinct? Look at the next question below this video and choose the correct option. B is correct, at risk. Dangerous does not mean the same as endangered, and extinct we already have in the question. Endangered means nearly extinct. So, what would be a good synonym for extinct? Look at the next question below this video and choose from the options A, so dead, B, totally eliminated, or C, wiped out completely. Choose the correct option. The correct answer is C, wiped out completely. So that has the same meaning as extinct. So our paraphrasing sentence for our introduction will be, throughout the last 100 years, more and more species have become at risk or wiped out completely. See how the structure is pretty much the same as the question, but we've changed some of the keywords. So this paraphrase sentence will be the first sentence in our paragraph because it paraphrases the question and it gives background to the topic of this essay. Now let's think about the other sentences in our introduction and what order we should put them in. A, this essay will look at the main reasons for the loss of wildlife and propose some possible ways of resolving them. B, the causes of this are largely related to human activity. C, therefore, the solutions rely on us taking action and changing our behaviour. What is the correct order of these sentences after our first sentence? Look at the next question below this video and choose the correct order for A, B, and C. The correct order is B, C, A. So again, that first sentence, throughout the last 100 years, more and more species have become at risk or wiped out completely. This is paraphrasing the question and establishing some background. The causes of this are largely related to human activity. This is a reference to the causes that we're going to talk about in our essay, which will be caused by human activity. C, therefore, the solutions rely on us taking action and changing our behaviour. So in our solutions paragraph, we're going to give examples of how we can take action and change our behaviour. The final sentence explains clearly what the essay is going to do. What is the function of the essay? This essay will look at the main reasons for the loss of wildlife and propose some possible ways of resolving them. Notice there that we've again paraphrased this idea of animals going endangered or extinct as loss of wildlife. Causes has been given as reasons and solutions, ways of resolving there. That is the end of class 1. Now it's time to watch class 2 and then do the extra training and practice activities on this topic. Remember, if you have any questions for us, you can click on that chat icon at the top of your page there. If you click on it, you'll be able to send us a message with your questions. Thank you for listening.